Hi there, Chamber friends. I'm Molly Grover, President and CEO of the Dubuque Area Chamber of Commerce, inviting you to a new space where we talk about real topics shaping our community. Let's unpack that. Together, we're going to have real conversations, real stories. We're going to get to the down low on the issues that matter to our community. Join us for Let's Unpack That with the Chamber, proudly presented by Phoenix Theaters. Hello, everybody. Molly Grover with the Dubuque Area Chamber of Commerce, and welcome to our podcast, Let's Unpack That. We are joined today with a very special guest, a friend and a colleague, and the brand spanking new President and CEO of GDDC as of this past Monday, January 12th, Jason Light. And we're thrilled to have a conversation with him today. We thought this would be a great opportunity for our area to learn and meet Jason and hear about his vision for GDDC as he starts in his new role. Jason brings a wealth of experience in economic development, and he has a deep connection to Northeast Iowa as well. So together, let's unpack that. What do you say?
Absolutely. Thanks, Molly. I'm excited about the role, and I'm excited to be here with you too.
Well, we're excited to have you. So we're going to just have a conversation and go over some questions. First one, we want to congratulate you on getting appointed. I'm sure you're excited as well. It's your first, not even full week in. What initially, drew you, because you weren't living here. You've been here 5 years. What drew you or compelled you to come back to the Dubuque area?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been very blessed in this business because I've had the opportunity to lead 4 other economic development organizations before coming to Greater Dubuque. And my last stop was, we were having a lot of fun. We were having a lot of success. And so my wife and I were raising our 3 kids in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, with the Greater Oshkosh Economic Development Corporation. And in the back of my head, however, I always thought, hey, if there's an opportunity to come back to Dubuque County and Dubuque and the Greater Dubuque area, would love to be able to do that. Never thought it would actually happen, but probably the one position that I would come back for is the one I have now. So when Rick Dickinson announced he was going to be retiring in a few years, and he was looking to create a position on his team of somebody who had run economic development organizations in the past, I was fortunate to jump on that and be able to not only come back to Dubuque County, but bring my whole family here and really enjoy, meeting all the partners and working with everybody and having the great success that we've had over the last several years.
It's funny how things work out, right? I came back, like you. I have a deep connection to this area and had a parallel opportunity to lead the organization now that I've been with 19 years. But you too have a deep connection to the area. Let's talk about that, because I don't know if people know that.
Yeah, so I grew up on a farm just outside of Worthington, in western part of Dubuque County, between Worthington and Dyersville. My parents still live in that family farm. My dad still farms that family farm. And I have 4 younger brothers and sisters, so I was the oldest in the family. So I like to think that experience of being the oldest sibling kind of prepared me for life a little bit.
I'm the oldest too.
Yeah. I mean, I like to think I have some leadership qualities as a result of that, but, others can judge that. But nonetheless, had the opportunity then to go to Beckman Catholic, a great Catholic school in the western part of the county as well. And then a few years later, ended up at Loras College, where I graduated.
Go Duhawks!
Political science major, in the class of 1999. So yeah, I've had a lot of experiences. Worked at Modern Fold in Dyersville for my summer jobs. Had an uncle that was one of the managers there, and then while I was in college, worked some political campaigns too. So I was kind of in and out of college as well, my junior and senior years. So so for me, it was always a positive experience from the educational side. My upbringing, growing up on a farm. Kind of that blue-collar work ethic, so to speak, and then a big family, right? So where everybody kind of pitches in together to, for all the things that we do as a family.
So a working farm, like cows and sheep and that kind of working farm?
Yeah, we farrowed hogs, we had beef cattle, we baled hay in the summertime, I baled hay for neighbors growing up as well. So, yeah, all the things that go into it. Not cows.
Not cows.
We didn't milk any cows.
Okay,
We
that was
had,
my next question.
Never had that experience, but every other experience I pretty much did.
Well, provides you a great foundation being raised on a farm for so many of life's challenges and things that you might face personally and professionally. So definitely a great upbringing. And you came home, right?
Yeah,
I did
for
too.
sure.
So we're glad that you chose Dubuque because you can choose anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's certainly a great place to live, work, play, and raise a family.
For sure.
So, again, first weekend, drinking through a fire hose, as we talked about earlier as you came in. You are following in the footsteps of Rick Dickinson, who held the position for 30 years. In fact, I said at an event last week, probably some of the most pivotal years, if you will, if you look back over the past 30 years of what's happened in Dubuque. It's crazy. So as you step into this role, how do you see carrying on the legacy, but also forging your own path at the same time?
Yeah, it's interesting kind of where the career takes you at times. And, for me, I've been fortunate with the organizations I've been a part of, but every organization I have been until Greater Dubuque was always either a startup or I would say a reclamation project. And I say that respectfully because they hired me because of my ability to really move and transform the organizations that I was joining, right? Including Greater Oshkosh, where I was the founding president and CEO of that organization. So for me, this is a new experience, right? There is a good team in place who have been my peers. We do have a good network of partners, including the Dubuque Chamber of Commerce, thankfully, but also in others in the community as well. So for me, I'm blessed and fortunate in that I have a number of different peers and partners and networks already established here, not just the ones I had when I grew up, which are also vitally important, and that's been fun to connect with too, but also the networks I've been able to build since coming back to Greater Dubuque too. So for me, that's a very strong foundation. And it's also an opportunity too, because we have a lot of assets here to work with. People are very familiar, obviously, with Dubuque's tourism assets. We have a lot, obviously, that puts us on the map. Our companies put us on the map. I always say that you're known by the companies that you keep in a community. So we've been very strong, have had a strong business retention expansion program over the course of the 20, 30 years that you referenced, led by Dan McDonald. So for me, I want to continue that continuity of really what makes Dubuque great, our partnerships, our businesses, our networks. And I think for me, I think my approach to people, some people will say I'm a good listener, some people will say I'm not, but I really have a lot of empathy for the people I work with. I like hearing the issues and the challenges and the opportunities that people have, and also try to be a resource for them, right? And I think we have a very important role in this community where we can bring together the public, private, and nonprofit partners on any given situation, whether it's an initiative, a project, something small, something transformational. And I think our board is really looking for that as well, to try to not only keep true with what we've done, but also look innovatively to new things and how we can grow as well.
So you mentioned you love talking to people, and that shows you're a real relationship builder. I've enjoyed getting to know you since you've been here, and we've really built a really strong working relationship and even strengthened the relationship that we have with GDDC. But in the interviews that you do, which are so valuable, that data that helps the community immensely. What are the issues and the challenges that you are hearing from investors and the business community right now?
Well, since I've been here, workforce has been a predominant theme. So I probably should start there, and we've got two individuals on our team that are very focused on that. Others in the community, they're also very focused on that as well, in terms of what we can do to continue to cultivate and attract talent to our community. I think that's something our businesses continue to be very focused on. And sometimes, when they talk about talent, they're not just talking about numbers. They're in some cases talking about just pure numbers of people to hire and the talent to draw from. but they're also talking about the kind of skills that they need as well. So one of the things I think that's very good about the history of our organization is that we do have some initiatives that help upskill individuals in the community. Certainly our partnership with Northeast Iowa Community College is well documented with Opportunity Dubuque to help our underemployed and our unemployed individuals in our community get the skills they need quickly to be contributors to our local economy. So initiatives like that, also talent attraction, having a strong talent attraction strategy is also something that's very going to be very predominant in our organization's future and important to our companies as well. But I say second, right behind it as a rising issue, is just land and infrastructure. And you can't expand your economy unless you have places for businesses to be, right? Whether it's downtown, whether it's industrial park land, whether it's industrial spec buildings, things of that nature. And we hear that more and more as a rising issue as well among our companies. Is if I want to grow, if I want to expand, where do I grow? Where are the utilities? Does the topography align with where I want to be? Is it close to where our suppliers and our customers are at? Things like that. Those are all part of that same narrative that all kind of weaves together. I think the other thing too is just a competitive business climate, right? I think we've done a nice job over the years as a community, as a network of partners, the Chamber, Community Foundation, City, Greater Dubuque Development, of just recognizing how important business climate issues are to our community. So high level of service and creating streamlined processes is very important to our companies, and it continues to be a predominant theme that they want to be in a community where they're valued, they're heard, and their issues are followed up on.
Very good. So I like to, when you have a new administration, a new president, you hear about the first 100 days. So your first 100 days as a new president and CEO at GDDC, what are your goals for the first 100 days?
Yeah, I think for me, it's just reintroducing myself to the community in part, right? Reintroducing myself to our team, which I'm in the process of doing this week and next week. Just asking them questions about, what do they like about the organization and their positions? What would they like to see change, right? And what are the opportunities going forward for our community, our partnerships, and our organization? And how do all of those align? So I think now is the best time to do that, rather than waiting for the next 100 days after the first 100 days, because we're just, again, really getting to know each other.
That's going to keep you busy.
It will. And I plan to have those same conversations with our partners. So Molly, you and I will have those conversations. We'll have those conversations with City Manager Mike Van Milligan. And
so make a wish list.
Certainly, yeah. Why not,
okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, assuming money's no object, right?
Okay.
We can do anything, right?
Absolutely. We never let that hold us back.
Exactly. It hasn't. We've always figured out a way, at least the first couple of years I've been here. And that will continue. But also with our board, too, just being aligned with our board, with what they want to see. What I was really excited with the interview I had with the search committee was the second part of that interview, where I probably got an incomplete at best, to be honest. And that was a discussion of what are the goals and the strategies to create a transformational organization in Greater Dubuque. And we talked a lot about the role of artificial intelligence, right? And how we can be of assistance with our company and companies and businesses, not just on understanding how that plays a role, but also of service to them on the opportunities that AI presents. We talked about entrepreneurship, and something I'm really proud of is being a part of a group that established 1 Million Cups Dubuque here, where every week we have an entrepreneur that presents on another topic or another business. And we have a network of individuals that continue to meet week after week to do business with each other as entrepreneurs that are now getting out of their businesses and talking about ways that they can do work together.
Building that culture.
And, and other things like business recruitment in a proactive sense, talent recruitment in a proactive sense, right? Are you taking our "You Can Be Great Here" moniker and actually targeting areas to bring talent here? Business recruitment, inviting site selectors to come to our community.
I love that.
And giving feedback.
I love that idea.
About what our strengths and weaknesses are. If they do think we're strong, why are we strong? If they don't think we can compete for those high-profile companies, why can't we compete? And what can we do to overcome some of those challenges? So that was what I was really excited about when I was meeting with the search committee, that they were thinking about not just what are we doing well today and what can we continue to do, but 5 years from now, what kind of an organization are we going to be and how are we going to provide some of that leadership in our community?
Sounds like you're painting the picture for the vision of GDDC.
Sure.
So obviously there's, getting your feet on the ground when it's your first week. So you got staff reintroducing yourself as a president and CEO. They've known you in a different role, and a lot of work to do there, getting your board aligned. But then at the same time is laying the groundwork for that vision you just painted in the next 5 years, the next 10 years. Would that be aligned, what you just said, of where you'd like to see GDDC go in the future?
Absolutely. And I think one step more to that, and that is, a conversation about goals. And of course, all of our organizations have goals, right? Population growth, business growth, tax-based growth, job growth. I mean, we all want to see that in our community, but we can't do it by ourselves, right? So I think the collaboration between our organizations in the community, but also regionally, right? So I think one of the things that we are well positioned to do is to look across the Mississippi River, looking at Illinois, looking at Wisconsin. In fact, I just came from a tri-state economic development practitioners meeting where we had economic development people in 3 states talking about, okay, what do we want to be? What are some things that we can do together to continue to enhance the profile of Dubuque and the tri-state area? So I think that's another thing that we can do. We can accomplish so much more together than we can alone. So that will be a reoccurring theme as well.
Well, that's one of the mottos of Chambers of Commerce, traditionally doing together what you can't do alone. Together we achieve more. I love that concept because maybe we haven't leveraged it to its maximum, to the benefit of the region as a whole. So I love to hear that because I think that there's so much opportunity there as we look at, it's really a superpower kind of, the fact that we have this geographic location that is literally a bridge away from one state and a bridge away from another state. So start acting like more like a region. And I think that's going to be awesome as we look to the future. Quick break to give a big shout out to one of our favorites, Phoenix Theaters, for their presenting sponsorship for Let's Unpack That. If you haven't been to Phoenix Theaters lately, you're really missing it. Catch your latest favorites and old favorites as well at Phoenix Theaters. I want to touch on a successful program because you mentioned workforce continues. We hear that too. It's a challenge that persists. It used to be just about finding workers, but now there's other parts of that conversation, barriers to workforce, right?
For sure.
Housing, childcare, transportation, all that plays into it. You developed a very successful program in Oshkosh, Adopt a Ride.
Winnebago Catch a Ride.
Winnebago Catch a Ride. Okay, tell me about that.
Yeah, so we were finding, just as we were finding in this community as well, a lot of communities, every community, has people that are employable. They want to be employed, they want to work, but they don't have the capital to, access the tools that they need or pay for the things that they need in order to get to work. And one of those is transportation, right? Because cars are expensive. They're expensive to buy, they're expensive to maintain. You got driver's license, insurance, all that go into it. It's always a lot more than, as I tell our son who wants to buy a car right now, it's a lot more than just buying the car.
Right.
It's everything else that goes into it, the gas, right? And so, so one of the things that we did to help, especially those entry-level workers, was we adopted a set of partnerships. Community Foundation was a big part, funder early on, for an initiative called Winnebago Catch a Ride. And that essentially meant we would recruit volunteers in our community, similar to how Do Ride acts here for the older population and helping them get groceries and medical care and whatnot. We adopted that for employment, for jobs. So we had, recruited a number of people that would pick people up at the beginning of their shift or at their homes to get to their first shift, and then took them home afterwards as well. And so we did that probably from about 2017 to 2019, and then we had a little bit of hiccup during COVID, and then resumed it after the aftermath of the peak of COVID, which when nobody wanted to get in a car together or do anything together for a period of time. But that was a really nice program that had a fair amount of sustainability and good support, both from the state, because the state also had pilot money, the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, so they gave us some seed money combined with funding that we received from the Community Foundation.
Do you see that being applicable here? Can we customize that program? Because there's challenges here. Our topography that we're spread out. Some of our industrial parks are much further out. Something like that could be very helpful for our manufacturing employers.
Well, I agree, and we have a really good bus transportation system here with the Jewel, right? But they also have limitations. They will say that, right? And they've been very innovative in piloting commuter bus shuttles and things of that nature. But it's not the same as point to point, right? So sometimes if you're a single mom with 3 kids and you're like, you need to get to point A to point B as fast as you can sometimes, because there's so many other obligations that you have for your family and whatnot. So you need that point to point, somebody to provide that gap for you. So I do think that it has some applicability here. We haven't talked about that here quite yet. We actually did have a short conversation, I know, when I first came with Do Ride to kind of better understand their model here and their efforts to recruit volunteers. But certainly I think in any community, especially in a community like ours where volunteerism does stand out and people want to help people, I think we could probably revisit that and maybe see what could happen.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So looking at the tri-state and looking at us as a region, and we certainly have a lot of momentum right now. There's a lot of good things going on. There's been a lot of success in projects in the past. If you had to pick one, what would be your favorite economic development project and why?
Well, for me, it would be when I was in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. So Oshkosh Corporation, which is not a name that Oshkosh probably means a lot to people around here because of Oshkosh B'gosh that was in the overall company that was around for years and decades. That's no longer headquartered in Oshkosh. It was sold a number of years ago. But Oshkosh Corporation is a Fortune 500 company headquartered in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And Oshkosh Defense is the biggest subsidiary of Oshkosh Corporation and the biggest employer, the John Deere, so to speak, of Oshkosh, Wisconsin. So is what is probably the best analogy that I can make for the present situation here in Dubuque. But they had their office headquarters is in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. So around 2018, the CEO of Oshkosh Corporation, Wilson Jones, said, "Hey, our headquarters is in a manufacturing building. We're a Fortune 500 company. Our board of directors are located in Chicago and Dallas and Charlotte, North Carolina, and New York, et cetera. And they expect a little bit more visibility for our company. Our image is very important as a publicly traded Fortune 500 company. And we also we want to be able to recruit global talent. So we want to build our own headquarters. But we want to do a national search for our new headquarters." And they did. And I think it's less than 15%, maybe less than 10% of all Fortune 500 companies are headquartered in a community the size of Dubuque or Oshkosh. They're similar sized communities. So most frequently they'll choose a larger city because that's where they can recruit their talent, right, from around the world for CEO, high-level administrative positions. So I said, okay, that's great. Let's do a search in Oshkosh, see if you can find a location. They said, we want the municipal golf course, right? 100-year golf course, 100-year company. So immediately we had a big political struggle in the community because the city-owned golf course was where the local high school had their practices. It also was along the Fox River, so people would take their kids out to learn how to fish, things of that nature. So we immediately had a political struggle in the community. Are we going to support the golf course? Are we going to support the company that supplies thousands of jobs? And it actually was a debate. And so we had to help our city council members. We actually did a campaign. We had yard signs. We had people speaking from the podium. We had negotiated a deal with the city. And so I was the forefront of that, negotiating the deal. Fortune 500 companies don't like to speak to the media every day, so I was their representative on their behalf to speak to the media every day. And ultimately, we got the job done, and they built a global headquarters, and we saved the company, so to speak, for our community. So that was a big project at the time.
Wow.
So,
I think in economic development, the story that you told, I mean, you don't see projects like that every day, so that was huge. But it's not unusual for there to be opportunities where there's disagreements or people pick sides or things can get controversial, if you will. As you're looking at, current or recent or future opportunities here in Dubuque, how do you see that relationship between GDDC and the city?
I think we've got a really good relationship with the city. And I think, I've said it before, but, our job is to really play the middle between the public, private, nonprofit sectors. The city, and I'll say the city of Dubuque, we work with all the cities in Dubuque County, but the city of Dubuque is probably our top partner, is our top partner, right, in the mission that we perform in economic development. So that relationship is vital. And at the same time, they understand that it is our role to advocate on behalf of the businesses and the clients we work with, and to bring any kind of needs, concerns, opportunities to them, so that we can work collaboratively with them to either overcome the challenge or take advantage of the opportunity that presents itself from a business expansion, creating more jobs, addressing infrastructure issues, process-oriented issues, et cetera. So it's a strong partnership. It's a meaningful partnership, and day to day, it's like sometimes brother and sister, where you love your brothers and sisters, and sometimes you're going to agree, and sometimes you're not going to agree, but at the same time, you're all part of the same family.
Oh, I love that analogy.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely paints a picture. So your philosophy on economic development right now as the new leader is, so your philosophy one, and are you going to target certain kind of industries, certain size of industries? I mean, what is going to be your approach?
Well, I would say we have a pretty diverse set of companies in different industries here, and that wasn't the case certainly when I was growing up as a boy in Dubuque County. And during the farm crisis in the 1980s, I think everyone's very familiar with the state of the economy in Dubuque at the time, and I won't spend too much time on that history, but I think we're all very aware of those days.
Yeah, we all know it.
And we went a lot, to your point, the 30 years with Rick and the 35 years with Mike Van Milligan and the great partnerships that have existed in this community over the years, today, past, present, and certainly future, have recognized that it's important not to have all of our eggs in one basket, like we did in the 1980s, but certainly the eggs we do have in that basket, we have to nurture and cultivate and continue to take care of. So from that standpoint, we'll evaluate the kind of companies that we want to target. I do expect that we will have a more targeted effort than maybe we have in the past for business recruitment. That certainly is something our board wants to see, is more of a strategy and plan. So far in the last few years, it's been very focused on, if the state of Iowa, the Iowa Economic Development Authority brings us something, we decide if we want to compete or decide whether we have the land, building, infrastructure, incentives to workforce to effectively compete for it. And so we want to be a little bit more proactive in that sense, rather than just rely on people just bringing stuff to us and then reacting to it. And so that will be a part of it. But I think, overall, again, we talk about the different stools, talk about taking care of existing business, bringing in new business, and cultivating those entrepreneurs. We'll probably be in a more supportive perspective with that, just because we have some good organizations in our community right now that provide technical and financial assistance to entrepreneurs, but just also recognizing that those entrepreneurs bring a lot of ingenuity and innovation to our community. I think our institutions of higher ed play a role in that too. We've got a couple of them that are forming their own entrepreneurial programs right now, recognizing that. And so just being a connector at a lot of those different things and being engaged to making sure that if there is an opportunity that presents itself, we got those things well aligned and the right people around the table.
Yeah, that's certainly been a gap, entrepreneurship. And, we've been trying to tackle entrepreneurship in this community for years and years and years, since I've been here in the past 19 years. It finally feels like we're on the right track. And I'd say that's due in part to your leadership and A Million Cups. But that culture of entrepreneurship, I mean, it's more than just, you get together once a week at a program. It really takes a focused effort in entrepreneurship. So as it relates to that, where do you see entrepreneurship going in Dubuque?
With respect to Dubuque, we are Iowa's original city. This is where Iowa started, as we like to say. But while we might be Iowa's oldest city, we don't want to have the oldest ideas.
I love that. That's so cool.
And so to that end, it's very important that we continue to extend that olive branch to our entrepreneurs. And I have learned a lot. Like I said, I'm just one player around the table for 1 Million Cups, and it's such a simple concept of just getting one business in the room every week to talk about what they do. And to your point, it's a lot more than that, right? And there's a lot more we can do with that. Maybe we need some kind of an investment fund, so to speak, right? To help capitalize those early stage businesses. The work that the Innovation Lab is doing to kind of create some attention to that with their business grant contest is exciting. That's been one of the cooler events I've had the opportunity to go to over the last several years. Here is that annual business contest where they award money to
that's cool.
The entrepreneur of that wins at the end of the night, or a set of entrepreneurs after pitching what they do.
Kind of like Shark Tank, a little bit.
Kind of like Shark Tank in a certain kind of way. But I think the next evolution for us is to get some private capital that can be invested in some of these companies, or at least seek out private capital sources that can do that.
Right.
I think that'll be a game changer for some of the folks that are doing some really cool things in our community.
It'll really foster, I think, that culture of people wanting to dip their toe in, because maybe you have an idea and you just don't know what resources are available to you or where you go or what you do. I think that would be a big, huge step in the right direction.
For sure.
So let's ask some fun questions.
Sure, absolutely.
What is your favorite restaurant in Dubuque?
Oh man, I don't want to sound political on this. I really don't.
It's not. This is not political.
We have a lot of good restaurants here, right? And we were at Mario's last Friday night. We were at LMA a couple times in 1 week. Brazen is a favorite. Seven Hills is a place that I really like too. And
they have my favorite burger.
Yeah. And now they got a restaurant in Dyersville too. So they've got a couple of them, and now in Platteville. So I think we have a lot of, I think sometimes people talk about Dubuque not having restaurants. It comes up in our Distinctly Dubuque survey. I think we've got a lot of really nice restaurants, particularly in the downtown area.
Our culinary scene, we're having an event, putting a shameless plug for the chamber, called Taste of the Tri-States, Cork, Forks, and Crafts, in the first week of March, which really shines a bright light on the culinary scene. We have breweries, we have wineries, we have great restaurants, we have gastropubs, we have, craft breweries that have food. Our food scene is incredible, and you named a few of my favorites there. We're fortunate. Our restaurants are killing it. So let's ask another phone in.
Yeah.
So if you could go to dinner with 3 people, those 3 people could be living or historical. what 3 would they be and why?
I would say, as a sports guy,
I am too. I'm a
Yeah.
sports girl.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, Bears or Packers?
I grew
It's
up in
gonna
a
be-
Chicago sports household, but when I was in Wisconsin,
Oh no.
I had to cheer for the Packers.
Okay, but you're home
But
now.
I'm a Bears fan.
Good.
Yeah.
Bear down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would invite Walter Payton right off the bat.
Oh, I named my son after Walter Payton.
Oh, really?
His name is Payton after Walter.
nice.
'Cause
There
that's
you
what
go.
got me loving football.
Yeah, yeah. So I had the chance to, when I was a kid, to go to Platteville, where the Bears training camp was.
Oh,
shake
I'm
his hand.
agreeing with Envy right now.
Never forgot that. Yeah.
Agreeing with Envy. So,
So
Walter Payton.
He being around the table, I would say Alexander Hamilton would probably be another
Oh,
one. Just
interesting.
because I think he was one of the first true economic development professionals.
Good point.
Without being an economic development professional, because he introduced the concept, of banking and investment and things like that, in a way that the founding fathers hadn't seen before. So I would say Alexander Hamilton, and the third one is, I think one of the first political leaders I had a chance, not to get political or anything,
That's not political.
but I admired George H.W. Bush when I was growing up.
Okay.
I think I got to, I don't think I could vote for him, but that's when I was looking at, because eventually
That's senior, right?
Senior.
Yep.
Yeah. When I worked in politics, for me it was like, I admired people for their character more than what their positions were. And he was somebody that, regardless of what his positions were, I thought he was just a good human being. And that kind of got me into the political world a little bit. Was just, someone that could lead with integrity.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, my political views right now are very different than they were back then. But back then it was like I looked up to him, and he kind of got me into politics a little bit. So I probably would add George H.W. Bush.
But character matters. I
Yeah.
mean, at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I think that's the bigger
Mhm.
point. The people that you picked is not about who they were as politicians or what
Exactly.
party
Yeah.
that they represent, but who they are as human beings. All 3 of those.
Mhm.
The picks, at least from my perspective, I know why I'd pick Walter Payton, and he was an amazing athlete, but he was an amazing human being, and the other 2 as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
very interesting. So if you weren't an economic development professional with all the wild success and all the expertise and experience that you have, and I know you love what you do, it shows,
Mhm.
what would you be doing if you weren't doing this?
That's a great question, and if I left today, I couldn't make a living on it. But it's one of my wind down retirement jobs at this point. And that would be a softball umpire.
I know one. That
You do?
I do.
Okay.
And he might have some pointers, and he came into it after retirement and loves it. But anyway, keep going. I interrupted.
Yeah. So we're a blended family. So I'm stepdad to our 3 kids. We've been together for 13 years as a family, but one of the ways that I was able to bond with our girls was through fast pitch softball. So for years we traveled the country to play tournaments.
You were doing the traveling.
And I'd
thing.
sit on a bucket. Both our girls were pitchers. Our youngest one is a pitcher yet. Our oldest one is a freshman at UNI now. And so I would love to stay connected when they're finished by being a softball umpire at the high school level.
That's
Like
cool.
I said, it doesn't pay the bills,
That's cool.
but certainly something I would really like to do.
That is not the answer
Yeah.
I was expecting, but that's a great answer. Did you
Yeah.
say your youngest, too, is at UNI?
Our youngest is a junior at Beckman Catholic.
Okay, I was going to
So,
say,
yeah.
so you're approaching empty nester.
Approaching, yes.
Yes.
One night a week at the Dubuque Sports Complex, I'm sitting on a bucket with a mask on and a glove, catching 60-mile-an-hour fastballs. So
I see. And you live in Dyersville, correct?
correct.
Yeah, and
Yep.
so there's a lot going on in Dyersville, which is
Yeah.
great for Dubuque County.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
Dubuque County is a dynamic county. There's a lot going on in a lot of places, and that's been one of the more rewarding things I've had to do, is being able to spend a lot of time and connect with people and work on projects in Piaston and Dyersville and Cascade and Farley, and really connecting with the people there, people that I grew up with, but also people
Mhm.
I've got a chance to meet and
Mhm.
serve on the National Advisory Board for the Field of Dreams. And yeah, it's been a blessing all the way around.
exciting stuff now, and the best is yet to come.
Yeah.
The momentum is real.
For sure.
Congratulations on your new role. I wish you nothing but success. Look forward to what the future brings, and let's keep on keeping on.
Yeah, we're going to do some great work together.
I agree. Well, thank you everyone for listening to Let's Unpack That with Jason White, and until next time, thank you. That's a wrap for this episode of Let's Unpack That. On behalf of myself and my chamber colleagues, thank you so much for joining us and spending this time with us. We hope that if you have issues that you'd like to unpack, you reach out to us because we want to hear from you. On behalf of the chamber and our sponsor, Phoenix Theaters, we'll see you next time.